got 4 new sex discoveries that might put a little more loving in your future.
And there's that big smile again. First up, it's not your mom's birds and bees. And here to clue us in on the latest shocking finds when it comes to our sex lives is our good friend, Dr. Logan Levkoff. Hi, Doc.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Great, I love the glasses.
Thank you.
Terrific. So I guess we're gonna start with something I really had to think about, but then it made sense. The fact that the younger generation being wilder than the older generation, those roles have changed, right? Like it used to always be, oh, these crazy kids, you have...
And we still hear that a lot, but it's actually pretty far from the truth. You know, we're sexual throughout our lives, and we're seeing more and more that our older generations are sexual too. In fact, the biggest sex behavior study was just released by Indiana University, and it looked at people between 15 and 94.
Wow.
Yes, so clearly sex is not just for the young. And people over the age of 50 are experimenting and engaging in a variety of sex behaviors, you know, certainly not just teenagers.
Well, when you think about it, people in that age group were around during the sexual revolution. They were very free when they were young. Then maybe they wanted their kids to be a little more conservative, but now their lives are their own again, so they're cutting loose.
Well, that's part of it. And also, I think that when we hit a certain age, we're not affected by those old expectations of us, and we know what sexual chemistry is. We want to kind of jump right into that and not really play games. We know what we want. We're not afraid of going after it. And that's why we're seeing a lot of these online surveys even that are saying that people over the age of 50 are more likely to have sex on the first date than those that are younger than them.
Really?
That's
I know,
what they
right?
say.
But when you think about it, it makes sense. I mean, we live in a world where 50 is the new 30, and there's social media and people of every age getting involved in that.
And we have Viagra.
And we have Viagra.
We have a lot of meds that help in those departments.
So we actually have Denise, one of our viewers, in our front row today, and she actually wanted to speak directly to you about this topic. You want to tell us what you have to say about it?
Yes, I wanted to tell you that the sex is definitely better when you hit 50. You're a lot less inhibited. You don't feel shy about things anymore, and it's a whole lot more fun.
Look at the smile on your face.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot more fun.
So she's literally living proof.
Yeah, sex is not just for the young.
You're living the dream, huh? So let me ask you, are you single or?
Yes, I'm single.
And there's that big smile again.
But you know, the only thing is it does come with certain challenges. One of the things that we've learned from this recent IU study is that people over the age of 40 have the lowest rates of condom usage of anyone else in the population.
Do you practice safe sex?
Sometimes.
See, and that's really...
She's being honest, though.
Yeah, and I think that that's the problem. One of the things we find is between the ages of 45 and 60, less than 10% of women use condoms at the last time they had intercourse, less than 15% of men. So we have this idea that at a certain point in our lives, if we're not worried about pregnancy, we're not worried about anything. But that's really not the case. We have growing sexually transmitted infection cases in the over 50 population. So we want you to have great sex throughout your lives, but we want you to have smart and safe sex, too.
I mean, especially if you're single, it's not really about whether or not you're going to get pregnant. It's about protecting yourself from STDs.
Yes, it is.
Do you think about that? Or
yes, you have to know who you're with.
Aha. Okay.
You definitely have to know.
But even if you think you know your partner, shouldn't you take precautions?
Always be protected.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, we don't want to lecture you, but we are. Okay, so the next topic we're going to talk about is money issues. Earning more than a woman out-earning a man, correct?
Yes, this is a very distressing finding. There was a study out that said that they were looking at men between the ages of 18 and 29. And what they were finding was that if a man was dependent on his female partner economically, he was 5 times more likely to cheat.
My God.
Yes.
Why? Do you know the thinking behind that?
Well, some of it might have to do with stress for not working or not contributing as much and then kind of sabotaging your relationship through cheating. But I think it's really frustrating and unfortunate that we still have all of these expectations handed to us about how men and women are supposed to contribute in a relationship.
Let me ask you, did they ask the opposite question, and did they look at that? Are women that their husbands are financially the breadwinners in the house, are they more likely to cheat?
No. that seems to have had the opposite effect. Those women are not more likely to cheat. Apparently, the safe zone is if a woman makes 75% of a man's income. But here's the thing. I think the important thing for all of us to think about is that we all have different contributions in a relationship, and you can't really monetize them. It might be money, it might be parenting, it might be emotional support, and we really have to look at it that way.
And you have to remember that that's part of your job in any loving relationship is support, to be supportive of the person.
In all ways,
yes, not just financially. That's fascinating, though. I find that fascinating. 5 times more likely. Yep. Wow. Now, this next topic I really find fascinating, too. All of this is just such an eye-opener to me. A lot of women say, when polled, that they are not married to the person who gave them the best sex, that the best sex they've ever had in life. Not to say that they're out in extramarital affairs, just that the person that they had the most...
They're nostalgic.
Yes. That they did not choose to marry the person that gave them the best
sex.
And for their buck.
Yeah, well, nice, Rachel. Yeah, so one of the things that it was an iVillage survey, and basically 52% of women said the best sex that they had was not with their husband. Now, this could be for a number of reasons. I mean, first of all, we get all these messages handed to us, have sex like it was in the beginning. It can be as hot as it was then.
Right.
And we start to think that if there's something wrong or different, that means it's bad. And the truth of the matter is, it's never like it was when you first met, when everything was new, but that doesn't mean it can't be better. But we often don't talk about it. So we assume that our partners after a while just know everything about us and can magically, you know, get everything. And it doesn't work that way.
I mean, I don't want to be too flip about it, but can you teach an old dog new tricks? If you fondly remember other moments with other people because of one aspect or another of what was going on between the sheets, is it weird? Like, is there a time limit? Can you bring that up to a partner 10, 15 years in and say, listen, you know, I really want us to try some different stuff?
Well, I think you could always say that you want to try something new. You don't have to attribute it to someone else in your past.
Oh, God, I didn't say bring up that person.
I hope not. But it's important to remember that our relationships, you know, evolve and our life changes, whether it's jobs or parenting. And the things that we want or like are not necessarily what we liked before. So it's really important that we keep talking and have this honest communication. Otherwise, we're never going to get the sex we want.
So if you don't ask for it, don't complain when you don't get it, basically. Yep. That's the bottom line. Now, this next one I have told people about for years, and I needed no study to help me with it. More housework equals more sex. Explain this.
Well,
it does. Trust me. Listen.
We probably wouldn't be surprised to note that if husbands do more housework, they get more sex. But this new study says that the more housework a husband and a wife do, the more likely they are to be having sex with their spouse. So not just the man, the woman too, which is really kind of interesting.
I'm telling you, men, there is nothing hotter than watching you do the dishes or help clean up a room without being asked. And for a man, because cleaning something shows that you respect that thing,
and
right?
appreciate the contributions that your partner makes. But that wasn't just about husbands. This is also saying that wives who do more housework have more sex with their spouse too.
Now, we have someone here that wants to weigh in on this. Another one of our viewers, Jennifer, has 2 cents to offer. Jennifer?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. My question is, the women that were polled, do they work full-time? I work full-time. My husband works full-time. We have a family. For us doing chores equally does not equal more sex.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, just because you're too tired, you don't want to deal with the chores at all.
We are too tired.
Gotcha.
I mean, just everyday life.
I know, it's very surprising. And I have to say, as a working mom, I can assure you that the more housework I do doesn't mean that I'm getting more sex. Sorry, honey. You know, he's watching saying, oh, God. But the women in this study, they actually think that these women are just go-getters in their life and that they prioritize everything. So they prioritize work, parenting, housework, and sex. But that's hard to do.
So, you know, all
really
things being equal, you certainly understand her situation as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But, you know, I think what the gist is that if everybody's pulling the weight equally in the house, it makes that person more attractive.
Yes, shared responsibilities are really important.
It's sexy. Watching somebody suffer as much as you're suffering is hot. It's a turn on. Is this not fascinating? I could talk to her all day. unfortunately, that's the end of the questions we have for this time, but that means you'll come back all the quicker.